The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Trader's Edge with Steve Rhodes. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. The Trader's Edge. Now, Steve Rhodes.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the March 8th, the wonderful Wednesday edition of today's Trader's Edge show. I'm your host, Stevie Perseverance Rhodes, who absolutely knows that each of us should always be pioneers of our future versus prisoners of our past. Hope everyone out there is having a great day. Yeah, let's make sure we have an extraordinary one. And the easiest way to do that, well, it's to always remember that life is happening for us, not to us. That's right. When you and I make that one little 2x4 shift, it means we can find the gift in every set of circumstance that life is going to toss at us. Now, today, you and I, we're going to go check on the circumstance of these markets. We'll go figure out what those bulls and bears, what those buyers and sellers are communicating to you and I at just past 11 o'clock in the morning. I want you to know I'm absolutely grateful for your presence here. But even more important than that, and that's this. During this next 53 minutes, I'm here to serve you. So feel free to pick up that phone. You can dial on it at 877-927-6648. Would love to hear from you. But if you can't dial in and you've got a question, well, please send that to Steve at TFNN.com. And inside the subject heading, please put radio show question. Of course, if you're inside our Tiger's Den, well, then any and every ping will do. So let's go ahead and get this show started on wonderful Wednesday. Of course, this is Tiger Financial News Network. I'm Steve Rhodes. Welcome to the show. Right now, a little bit of a mixed bag. That mix is only coming from the Dow, which is off 63 points. The other indices trading the upside. S&P's up 8. Nasdaq's up 63. That's 0.5%. Russell's up 5 points. Semi's up 64. Trannies are up 20 points right now. Gold's up 6, silver's up 7 pennies, light sweet crude $1.16 to the downside. Natural gas is off 12 cents, trading out at $2.55, and the 30-year Treasury is up 1 full tick, basically, trading out at $124.30. Now, lead the charge, dollar-wise, the upside this morning. We've got Lam Research up about $16, a little over 3%. KLA Corp is up about 3%, 2 7/10. That's 10 points. Thermo Fisher Scientific up about $8, a little about 1.5%. To the downside, Regenerant Pharmaceuticals off $20, 2.5%. United Natural Foods off $11, 26%. Inspire Medical down about $9, 3%. Shockwave Medical about $9, 4%. And Charisma Therapeutics, not too charismatic today, it's off 65%. That's an $8 move to the downside. So let's begin. Oh, we might begin with a phone call is what we will. We will. We've got Brent in Martinez, California. Hey, Brent, thanks for calling. Thanks for holding. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Steve. How are you?
Very good. Thanks much for asking. You're calling about ticker symbol SBSW. Tell the folks what you're doing and how I can best help you out. That is Stillwater, Sarbanes-Stillwater.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions if you don't mind, but I'll start with that one. It's so what I observed yesterday, if you go back to, I believe I don't have my charts in front of me. I'm on my hike.
No, it's okay.
It's March, I think, 1st of 2022. That was a high. It's like around $20, excuse me. And then it made the low on September 23rd at $8.
Right.
Then went up to a C point. I don't know how the date was around $12. And then yesterday, we surpassed that $8 mark with volume on the daily, and it looks like it's going to do it on the weekly because it had, for that week, 20 million roughly, and we already have done, as of yesterday, 12 million. So, but then the thing that I wanted to ask you about is, well, if you take that 1-to-1, well, that takes you down to a penny stock. So how do you handle that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So at that stage here, so when I take a look at A to B equals, I mean, I just think at that stage we have to look for other patterns as an example. So if I just do well, first of all, We don't know where it's trading right now, but it's back up above that swing point from back in September. That was September 23rd. So it's back, it's gotten back up above that level. But where it's run into resistance at, and I'll show my other screen here momentarily, is the red oscillator and change line. But to answer your specific question here, one of the other things that I would do is look at an expansion of swing points. So that's what I'm going to put in here. Let's see where that comes out to with regard to price. Now, I'm going to go from the low of that September 23rd all the way up to the high that you identified, which was on the January 13th level. And so the 1 to 1.272 expansion of that set of swing points, Brent, would get us down to 679. And the 1.618 area would get us down to the 526 level. So with regard to price targets, let's say to the downside, that would be one tool that I would consider looking at to help us to identify where price might be going to. Does that make sense? I mean, I know you can't see it because you're not in front of your charts or anything, but does that make sense? You're familiar enough with the stock chart to know what I did out here.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. I'm not in it. I've been watching it, and I just noticed that yesterday, and so,
yeah.
And I don't believe this is a company that's going out of business. I'm not really worried about that, but I was just curious how you would approach, when something like that shows up on the chart. And
so I would do
one other favor. Can you look back further to like going back probably 4 or 5 years? It seemed like there was some stuff that was definitely down lower, maybe even back to March of 2020 that. Is there some level down there that makes sense that it might be trying to approach?
Well, so what I would do here is if we go back to March of 2020, what I would do is I've got a weekly chart up, and the weekly chart takes us to the week that began March 16, 2020, and the high of that bar is 604. So that could be a target. And the volume there was about 38 million shares. So it's possible that that's a target. However, before that would come to fruition, price is still dealing with that weekly September 2022 level. So that's at that $8 area. We're at $8.15 right now. As you pointed out, that swing point had about 20 million shares. We're already at 13. It's early part of Wednesday. So price is coming down with volume. I would say that if price closes above $8, what it's telling you is price is going to go test that $8 level at least once again. Maybe take it out, but at least test it. And that would be by take a look at the fact that price has been moving lower with volume. Yes, on the daily, it got below it. The weekly so far, it's held out there. And if price then does on a weekly basis close below that, then I would say that swing point that we were looking at from back in. Now, again, I'm looking at the weekly chart from back in March of 2020. That high of 604 would really become the price target level. Any questions about that? I'll switch over so our folks can take a look at it. And you on the archive as well can take a look at the white background charts with any of the TD9 counts or any other signals that are out there. So
I think that's it, Steve. But you can go take a look at that if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. And we really need to here. And we need to, not so much because it's Wednesday, but because maybe on Friday what the signal would show us. So what did I do here, Stevie? Yeah, I'm in the right spot. Sorry, Brent, I just have to change my screens out here. So let's change it over to the white. And the reason, basically, what I'm looking at on my screen is the weekly chart, what you and I are referring to. I've got a potential wave number 7. Bottom. Also, what I have is right now at the present time, I've got a bullish hammer candle. I don't know what it's going to look like on Friday. My point is that if we did get a bullish candle, and I'm going to expand out the weekly chart here, that would confirm another Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom. So when we were taking a look at the September lows out here, when I take a look at the weekly chart, what actually formed there, Brent, was a Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom. And that makes that low at $8 a really important area on a weekly time frame. Do me a favor if you would. First, watch out for rattlesnakes. But then second, stay on, hold on through this break, and we'll come back to you and we'll finish taking a look at Sibane Stillwater with Brent in Martinez, California.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Welcome back, folks. We're on the line with Brent in Martinez, California. We're taking a look at Sibane Stillwater. Ticker symbol there is SBSW. It has prices pulled back to a previous Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom pattern, not until price closes below $8. On a weekly basis, will that pattern get negated? It could be forming another Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom signal this week out here. Brent, I noticed on the daily time frame chart that it's been about 2 months since price has really closed above its oscillator and change line. It did it for a moment on March the 3rd, and then price got below it. I would say if we get 2 closes above that oscillator and change line, which is currently printing at 1811, we're at 1814 right now. If you get 2 consecutive closes, then we might have a bottom out there, even though we busted through that swing point on the daily time frame, just based upon the weekly charts. And then also, if I take a look at the monthly chart, now if this pattern fails, the next level of support will be at 739. 739 is the monthly TD9 count breakout level. So that's what I see when I take a look at all the stock charts here for Sibane. Interesting, I did pull up the 10-year history that we have on this, utilizing the seasonal tool out here. And this thing usually tops in the February timeframe and doesn't really bottom until September of this year. What do these guys do, Brent?
It's they end up buying Stillwater Mining, which is in the U.S. It's that has some platinum and other resources, okay. And then I think they're primarily out of South Africa. That's I call it Sibanye because it's actually the Y is before the E, but that's
got it. Okay.
Yeah, and then they're just they have all kinds of different gold and silver and probably copper and like I said platinum and rhodium and. So they're a pretty diversified company. I think the issues that they're having, and Tom did a pretty good job of explaining, is they're having, of course, in South Africa, having labor issues, and then also there's some issues with their power source, like they're having a lot of defunct electrical companies, so they're dealing with that. Wow. So there's a lot of pressure on them with that kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah. And maybe there's a currency issue over there too. I don't really know. I haven't looked at it for a while. But look, Sibane or Sabanye, thank you. Yeah, I'll go with Sabanye from now on if I can remember that. You got to watch that $8 level and the weekly charts out here, and then that daily oscillator and change line. I think those things will maybe provide you with some good information.
No, that's some great information, Steve. I don't know if you can hear it. There's some water in the background. We got a little river flowing here from the storm last night.
Perfect.
I was going to just two other quick questions.
Yes.
On natural gas, I was a little confused. I think back when on the April contract, it was at 3. You had mentioned, I think, the mid-range market profile was at 254, I thought. And then the other day you were talking about 247. Did that shift or something? Is that what happened?
So good question. So we're going to try to find out here. So we did get new profiles, just so you know. So what I've got here from a support level is going to be 247. 2.473, and the resistance level is 2.869. And those are really being confirmed really by both of my systems out here. So those are the profiles that are in place. So I don't know if you're referring to the profile from a few days ago, which was at 217 and 270, or I possibly misspoke, just like I mispronounced Sabanye out there. So so those are your profile levels for natural gas. It's got that weekly TD9 count bottom. It's got the daily Rhodes Momentum Indicator signal. And additional below the 247 level is the oscillator and change line. That currently is printing right now, Brent, at the 243 level out there. So those are your support areas for natural gas on the daily time frame. What was your second question? You said you had two.
Then the last and final deal here, I won't keep any longer, is just looking at, it probably shows up best on the NASDAQ and the S&P. So if I'm looking at the daily from the February high, we have lower highs and lower lows. But if I go to the weekly chart and you take the October low, we have higher lows and higher highs. So in your mind, which do you think is going to be the more prevalent pattern? I guess maybe the weekly because it's the bigger pattern. What's your thoughts?
Sure. So let me pull up the NQ charts here. Give me a second to, where'd they go? Here we go. So let's pull those up so everybody can see exactly what you're looking at. So what Brent was referring to here on the weekly time frame chart, if we take a look since it formed that TD9 count and Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom, which is really important, folks, there are not a ton of NASDAQ weekly Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottoms. The two most recent ones, and you'd have to go back to the NDX charts to see them, the two most recent ones would have been the March 2009 bottom, and the NQ would have been in 2008 when that bottom formed, and 2002. So they're really worth paying attention to, and we've got another one here. So yeah, you can see the higher highs and the higher lows out there. And your question was about the daily. So on the daily chart for the NQ, what it formed is a Gartley buy pattern. And so that remains in effect here, with price just consolidating with inside its daily profile. So the range is between 11,975 and basically 12,408. And your question was, you're seeing lower lows here, but what we've got is that bottoming pattern. So not until the low from the trading session of March the 2nd, and that trading session low is at 11,832.50, will this signal that the market actually wants to head lower. Does that make sense?
Oh, that does, absolutely. It seemed I probably answered my own question, but I just wanted to ask it to you as well.
Yeah. So what's really cool is the NQ bottom with a TD9 count pattern that was on December 28th, and then a top with a TD9 count that was on February 2nd, and that has now led to a Gartley buy pattern. And if price can close above 12,408, the top of its profile, it should make a run for its recent high, which was the February highs out there. So what we'll really be watching for is whether or not price can close inside 12,501.75. Now, on the other hand, price could take out the Gartley buy pattern. And if it does that, Brent, then we'd be looking for a move back to the 11,365 area. But right now, we've got a weekly bullish signal out here for the NQ. We've got a daily bullish signal out there. We've got a monthly bullish signal with the TD9 count bottom out there. So those are the NQ for the daily, weekly, monthly time frame. Brent, is there anything else that I can do for you?
That's it. I didn't mean to hog so much time, but I just wanted to ask those questions.
It's perfect. It's perfect. I'm here as a resource, between 10 and 11, or 11 and 12, I should say. And please, you call in any time. We can chat, and you can take over the show. No problem. And I mean that admiringly. Right. You know, so look, I will tell you one thing. I know for sure. When you do call in, people in the den love it.
Well, I appreciate that, Steve, and I so much appreciate your help as always. You're very thorough. I always say that, and you definitely are. So just have yourself a wonderful day, and have a great weekend as well.
Will do. You too. That was Brent in Martinez, California. Let's do this here, folks. We've got about a minute. So what can I do in this minute? Let's spend some time really just feeding off of Brent's question here about the NQ. And so what I want to do is just take a look at where are we at from a market breadth standpoint. So from market breadth standpoint, from the 30-minute time frame, this is the NQs. We have 42 instruments above profile, 8 below. So we come back from this break. We want to take a look at the at least the 30-minute time frame chart. And we'll stay with the NQ. Let's take a look at the other time frames that we can monitor. This is for the S&P. Let's put this to the NQ out here. The NASDAQ 100, the NQ, is bearish on the 60-minute time frame and the 240 and slightly on the daily. So let's take a look at the 30 and the 60-minute time frame charts out there. That's the tug of war. And let's see if we can figure out who is going to win. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metal sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Dow's down 94. Trannies are up 2 points. The S&P's up 3. NASDAQ 134 to the upside, 3 points for the Russell, and 58 points, about 2% for the semi. So we'll definitely take a look at those during the show today. We're taking a look right now at the 30-minute time frame charts for the equity future contracts. What we do know, we didn't take a look at the ES Mini. I'll do that off on the side here. So we do know that the NASDAQ is in a bullish configuration, meaning more instruments are trading above the top of the profile versus the bottom. In the S&P or the ES Mini, same condition, 135 above, 129 below. So we're looking at the 30-minute time frame charts. What we can see out here, the benefit of these tools that we have on these charts, it really helps us understand what the market is doing. What do you mean by that, Stevie? Well, we can see that the market formed on a 30-minute time frame for a TD9 count bottom. It did that yesterday at 3 o'clock in the morning. That bottom pattern was also Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom. That bottom pattern is still in effect. It's formed another Rhodes Momentum Indicator signal. Did that this morning at 8 o'clock out there. So we've got a bottom pattern. What price has been unable to do is take out the sellers. Where do the sellers reside? That's pretty simple. Now, if we didn't have these market profiles, we wouldn't really be able to answer that question, hey, why did price stop where it did? But now we can clearly see that. And you've got sellers that are sitting at 39.9675. That's the price level. Even though we've got positive market breadth on the ES Mini, that's the price that we need to see closes above, 2 closes above, to then suggest a run up to 40.39 out there. Of course, a close below, at this stage here, a close below 39.8225 would suggest a further move lower. Now, that was the ES Mini. It was the NQ that we were kind of focused on. In the case of the NQ, we've got Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom patterns. The most recent one formed just a couple of hours ago. That was at 10:30. But here, even inside the NQ, we can see that where price is struggling is at the top of that profile. That's at the 12,200 level. So 2 consecutive closes above that would then suggest that the NQ wants to move higher. Likewise, to the downside, the area that you're really watching is going to be the low of the day. That's what price would need to close below, which is 12,108.25, to communicate to you and I that it definitely wants to move lower, at least coming from the 30-minute charts. The issue really is that the ES, the NQ, and the Russell 2000 each have those Rhodes Momentum Indicator signals. Each are struggling to take out profile resistance. By the way, on the Russell, that's at 1885. The issue is really with regard to the Dow. The Dow is the weak link out here. That's the one that's trading lower right now by 119 points. It does not have a bottoming pattern that is in place right now. It negated its Rhodes Momentum Indicator signal that formed at 8 o'clock, and it negated it at 11 as we were coming on the air. So the real issue here is the Dow. So I pay attention to the Dow today, just simply to see if there's any kind of sign of strength. So at this stage here, we know we've got these bottom signals. Prices bounced up into the resistance levels. If they don't take out resistance, you go back and explore the bottoms. So we could just simply have this choppy market out there. That's what the 30-minute time frame charts are telling us. Let's go take a look at the 60-minute charts, because of the 60-minute charts, we had the bullish TAS market breadth for the 30-minute. We had bearish market breadth, at least in the NQ, for the 60-minute. I'm looking at the S&P 500 right now off screen, and it's also bearish. It's actually bearish for 60, 240 daily and the weekly time frame. So here, that's the daily. I didn't mean to get there. I want to get back to the 60-minute time frame charts. So let's look at those. In the case of the 60, for the NQ, what this has is a TD9 count bottom. So that pattern is in play. It actually has a Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom signal. That's a key reversal bar that formed here at 11 o'clock. So that would then mean you need to see it close below 12,108.25 for support, at least on a 60-minute time frame chart, to fail. And that would then suggest a move back to 12,023.50, which is its TD9 count breakout support level. In the case of the ES Mini, it has a TD9 count bottom as well out here, and that would require a close below 39.8250. So that's going to be the real key level of support for the ES Mini on a 60-minute time frame. However, there is some support just below that area at 39.7550. That is where price broke out from most recently using a 60-minute chart. In the case of the Dow, for its 60-minute time frame, it's in the process here. It negated a Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom. It did that as we came on the air at 11. So the 60 matching the 30. So for those of you that are short, what I would be paying attention to is the Dow. If the Dow gets some type of bottom signal, since that is a weak, and it's able to take out resistance levels, well, then my assumption would be so too would the other markets, or at least the ES and the NQ out there. And at this stage here, I'd have to say the Russell as well. So that's what's going on from a very short-term short-term time frame with regard to the equity future contracts, and I hope that helps each of you out. Let's go to our first request. In fact, it's the only request that we have inside the Tiger's Den. I would love more. You can give us a call at 877-927-6648. You can also send me an email, but send that quickly to Steve at TFNN.com. We'll be happy to get to your question. But Bob in Spokane wanted to take a look at ticker symbol ENVX. So let's get those those charts up on our screen here. That is Enovix Corporation. And Enovix Corporation right now is trading out at $10.09. Actually, I have a little bit of a time delay out here. So it's really trading at $9.95. Does that matter? No, it doesn't. Here's what matters. This forms a wave number 7 bottom, a Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom. That bottom was formed on January 5th. Bob, what we've seen here is a series of higher lows and higher highs as price deals with this gap. There was a huge gap to the downside that took place on January 4th. What we know about the daily time frame is that price is above the top of its daily profile. It's above its oscillator and change line. And so those are bullish conditions, not bearish conditions. So this should rally further. Maybe it's going to get up and close the gap. To close the gap, it needs to get up and trade up to at least $11.96. Again, trading now at about $9.97 as we speak right now. On a weekly time frame chart out here, what we have is price trading above the top of its weekly profile. Now, the weekly profile, last week's close on this instrument was at the 972, and the top of the profile is 974. So if you do get a close on Friday above 974, that's going to be a big positive. We're already traded above last week's high. That's a positive as well, but certainly a close above 974 and doing that for 2 consecutive weeks would be even more positive. And that would suggest that, in fact, the daily is going to go try to target that gap area. On a monthly time frame, all that I really have is a prior swing point being tested. That was a swing point for May of 2022. 64 million shares were tested back in January of this year. Well, I guess I have to move this over. That was a volume of 123 million was testing that 64 million session out there. Price has not gotten back down there, but price is back inside its monthly profile. Always something to think about. We're going to go with the current signals. What I mean by that is I'm going to put more emphasis on the weekly and the daily time frame, both of which are bullish as we speak right now. To take a quick peek at ENVX on a 30-minute time frame to see if there's any short-term signals, all I see is a consolidation sideways, so nothing there. Let's move on. And what we should move on to is let's go take a look and see if we can find for ENVX what its seasonal pattern has been over the years. ENVX, see if we've got that. We've got... We do not. So Stevie can't do that. My apology with regard to that. Lastly, what can Stevie do? Well, we can take a look at consecutive days to the upside versus those to the downside. Here what we'll see is we've had 3 consecutive moves to the upside. We have most recently seen 4 and 5 day moves. So what this should be suggesting to you and I, today right now is day number 4, is that you should be expecting or anticipating some type of pullback. Maybe it lasts 1 bar, maybe it's 2 bars, maybe it's 3 bars out there, but likely not more than that based upon its current bullish configuration. So, Bob in Spokane, that's what I see when I take a look at ENVX. I hope that analysis helps you out. Thanks much for the request. We'll look forward to your next one. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. I'd love to hear from you as well, folks. 877-927-6648.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. Let's get to our next request out here. This is coming from HD. HD wants to take a look at the XLE, and what HD is looking for is an entry point. So here's what we know about the XLE right now from a daily, weekly, and a monthly perspective. On a daily time frame, what we've got is prices back inside its oscillator, and it's back inside its daily profile, and prices trading below the below its red oscillator and change line. So what that tells us, HD, is there's a falling price oscillator below zero. Those are bearish conditions. So therefore, odds favor that the XLE will make a run for support. Its support area, it's a bullish structured profile, is between 83.58 and 84.37. So if you're asking me for an entry point, well, I'd go with the 83.58 level. What you'll want to watch for, there's a swing point that was from the trading session of February 22nd. That swing point did volume of 20 million shares. The top of that swing point is 84.63. We haven't gotten to that today. I would watch to see how price behaves at that level. If it's a test and rejection, means it gets into it, closes, tests the 84, at least 62, and closes back above 84.63, and it does it with less than 20 million shares, well, then that could be your entry point. We've got a big old-fashioned consolidation going on. The weekly chart looks bullish. When I say it looks bullish, it does have a confirmed Rhodes Momentum Indicator top, but prices have been trading sideways, and it's been able to find support at around that 83.53 level. The monthly chart is uberly bullish. Now, it's really neutral, and the reason I say it's neutral is because price, it did form a Rhodes Momentum Indicator top. It did that last month. It still maintains its TD9 count top. That formed in June of 2022. But every pullback out here has found support at its oscillator and change line. And that's a very bullish condition from a momentum standpoint. So it makes sense that HD is looking for a long trade inside of the XLE. So the daily time frame gives us that range of 83.58, 84.37, as well as taking a look at that swing point that we did. On a 30-minute time frame chart out here, what do we see? On a 30-minute chart, we see an A to B equals CD to the downside. That is in place right now. And what this needs is a bullish reversal candle. Price has gotten back to its second breakout level, which is 84.92. If price gets below 84.92, it'll head down towards its third breakout area, and that's at 83.95. What I would be watching for, though, if you're tracking the XLE, is I'd watch on a short-term basis, such as a 30-minute time frame chart, for a bullish reversal candle. If we got one of those, then that would be setting up a Gartley buy pattern, and we should then at least see a move up towards its oscillator and change line, which is currently about 85.75. That is not where it will be should it form that pattern. Well, I mean, it could be, but that would be quite a coincidence for that to occur. So I think you've got to be patient here on the XLE. You can watch that 30-minute chart. You've got the areas out there. If we look at consecutive days up and down, today is likely going to become day number 2 to the downside. 2 bars to the downside can be your knee-jerk reaction. So it is important to pay attention as price gets down into that swing point. If it does, the 30-minute patterns that are present. If we don't see that, then we're likely going to see, we have seen the XLE move back on this last run up here. We've seen 5 consecutive days of the downside. So it may take a little bit of time out here, HD, but you've got the parameters to be watching. You know, you want to watch the volume again on that swing point from back on the trading day of February 22nd. The reason is because if it's moving lower with more than 20 million shares, well, then there could be something else that's going on. So that's what I see when I take a look at the XLE. The last thing that we can share here with HD is the seasonal pattern. Now, in the case of the energy sector, we have 24 years worth of data. And 24 years worth of data shows us that we should be in this kind of sideways yes type move out there until we get towards March 23rd. So that's about 2 weeks from now is when typically, or at least over the last 24 years, the energy sector has bottomed and then moves higher all the way into June. March is not a bad performing month, but certainly April, when we take a look at that for the energy sector, that is the best performing month. So it does make sense for HD to be taking a look at a potential bottom entry into it. And that brings that 83.55, 58 area, 84.37 range into play. So I hope that helps you out, HD. Thank you for taking the time to write in this morning. Next question. Do we have a next question? We do. From Roger B. Roger, thanks for writing in. I think this is the first time that I have received a request from you, so hopefully we'll get more. And Roger is asking about, and that is very small print to use for Stevie's eyes, just so you know, but I'll try to expand it. NXPI out there. Yeah, I used to be able to read that stuff, but these days, not a chance. But NXPI, and the question goes like this. This is Roger from Boulder. Thanks for all your guidance. You're welcome. Can you please give your analysis on NXPI and if time allows PANW? So we'll definitely do both of those for you, PANW as well. But let's take a look at NXPI. And give me a moment here. And I should know what NXPI is, and I do, but as soon as I pop it up, then we'll find out. Right now, it's trading at about 181 and change. It is NXP Semiconductor. So what you've got going on right now, Roger, is a consolidation with inside its daily profile. The support level's at 177.21. That was tested and rejected yesterday. It's a bullish structured profile. Your resistance is really between 183.45 and 184.59. But if NXPI closes above 184.59, you are back to your merry ways. Now, this does have a Gartley buy pattern. So it topped with a TD9 count pattern. You can see that. That was on the trading day of February 2nd. It then goes on to form the A to B leg. The A to B leg looks like this. I'll then just simply move this over to the C point. You can see we've gotten beyond the 1-to-1, and here you've got the bullish engulfing candle. That formed on March the 2nd. So you have a Gartley buy pattern, very much like the NQ, with price consolidating with inside its profile. And we do know with certainty that 184.59 level is real resistance, not just because it's the top of the profile, but because price had rallied up to that level on March 6th and turned right back down. So you know where the sellers are located in NXPI, Roger. So that's helpful. You also know where buyers are at. And right now your buying support is really at the low of that March 2nd candle, and that's at 174.17. On a weekly time frame, there's an A to B equals C to the upside. That's likely going to extend itself. We have a consolidation with inside its profile. It's quite large. 166.48 to the downside, 197.71 to the upside out there. Prices above its green oscillator and change line. As long as price remains above that 175.67 area, we should see a move higher. Price is running into resistance where it should, which is the center of that weekly profile. That's at 184.33. So we have a second number. You got the 184.59 to be watching. If price closes above that, that would be bullish. And if you get above that, well, we're going to be above 184.33. And that would then tell you that NXPI wants to make a run for 197.71. Turns out that at 184.95 or thereabouts, we have monthly oscillator and change line support. So now we have a third number. So if NXPI is really going to get run to the upside, you want to see it close above that monthly oscillator and change line level that is currently printed at 184.90. If price moves up, so too will that line. So overall, NXPI looks pretty good out there, just in a daily consolidation. If I look at the days forward, days back, the Texas two-step out here, yesterday was bar number 2. So that's your typical knee-jerk reaction, low time period. You're moving higher today. You're moving into a prior swing point. Let's just check out today's volume if we can out here. So on NXPI, the volume today so far has been about 440,000 shares. That swing point is moving into it at 1 million shares. So you've got volume. I would say NXPI is going to go target that 183.43, 184.59. We'll get back from this break. We'll finish out the show. Take a look at ticker symbol PANW for Roger in Boulder, Colorado.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. When we take a look at Palo Alto Networks, ticker symbol there is PANW. What we do know out here is this formed a wave number 7, a Rhodes Momentum Indicator top out there. And that sets up as your resistance level, Roger, the price a point of 192.47. If price closes above that, that tells us that you're headed higher. You're inside a bearish structured daily profile. So you got an existing top, just a sideways move. But if we do see it close below the bottom of that, the center of that profile, which is 187.05, if we see it close below that, odds would favor it's going to make its way back to the 178.92 area. The weekly chart, everything looks good. No topping signal out here. Just kind of an inside bar this week. That typically means that the existing trend that's in place should continue. The monthly chart, price is above the top of its profile. It's above its oscillator and change line, which is green. Those are bullish conditions. That suggests a run back to its high. So the issue that you're dealing with is a daily time frame. You've got your resistance area. You also have your support. That's what I see that's going on inside of Palo Alto Networks. I mentioned that semis were trading higher earlier. They still are. They're the leader out there. They're up about 2.25%. What are the semis doing? Well, I don't know. They've got to sell the D point pattern. We take a look at the daily time frame. Price is above the top of its daily profile, and a close today above that 243. 243.27 is going to tell us about a move to 245.84. 245.84 is going to be the key. If price closes above that, which is a green oscillator and change line, which has acted as resistance, well, that's going to tell us that price wants to move higher, get back and test those recent highs. The last stock that we'll take a look at out here is for McGuppy inside the Tiger's Den, XBI. If you still have time, could you look at XBI? It seems to have support here, buying opportunity. Not that I see. I see price testing a swing point from February 24th. That did volume of 8.6 million shares. In 2.5 hours of trading, you've done 2 million shares. So you're coming down with still lighter but still pretty decent volume. And if price closes below 81.38 today, you're at 81.51. That's telling you about lower price as well. So I don't see it just yet inside of XBI, but I could be wrong. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. Folks, stay tuned for all the great programming. I'll be back with you on Terrific Thursday. Please have a wonderful Wednesday. Be safe out there. Take care.